G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we are on Gorge to witness two of the world's best players face off in a 1v1 ranked battle. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasure to have your company today. Let us introduce our players. Sporting in the north of the map in the colour purple, playing as the Malians, it's Numidan. And on the south side of the map in the colour teal, playing as the Japanese, it's Crackety here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gorge. A pleasure to have your company today as we've got ourselves a little bit of action early on. Probably just going to be spearmen. I can't imagine this man possibly making samurai this early on. Even though you can technically make it, it's a big investment. They're slow, they're a bit cumbersome. You just want to avoid them. It's wonderful in the Imperial Age, not so much in the Dark Age though, but perhaps, look, we're foreshadowing a little bit. The Japanese, will he make some samurai? Probably today. Though I guess you're up against the Musafati. Do you dare? Now, one interesting thing to note, though, is that we are seeing a double scout opening coming through from Numidan, so probably not surprised to see professional scouts coming out here. Of course, he does have access to a very special scout, the Malians. So far, though, he's found plenty of sheep. There's actually quite a bit that's down here, and you can see he's looking to pick up absolutely all of them. Crackety's going to be coming up quite short with regard to his own sheep count. Now, is there a vill moving out here with these? There doesn't seem to be. No villagers moving out. He's just going to be looking to put pressure on towards that backside of the base where obviously the pit mine has gone down. We can't actually see the gold, I assure you. There is a gold there. There is some pit mines, and this is one of the best spawns that you could ask for as Numidan. His gold is all the way at the back, yet he still has enough room to put all of these houses around it. I think the only way you could possibly have this better is if the gold was right here and then the wood line, but look, it's one of those small little details. Now, how does Numidan look to play this for the reaction? Because at the moment, there's still quite a bit of resources to go before he's actually able to age up. The most common thing that you would see is they would just look to put down the Saharan trade network here. And it's a bit of it's a tough call, right? Because if you're putting down a landmark just to stop an attack, your opponent is forcing you to do something that you don't really want to have to do. So does he look to do that? We'll have to wait and see what the play is going to be. But that's a big investment just to stop an attack. Have a look at this. Speaking of big investment, 11 sheep on this one, 7 sheep on this one. That's a 7. That's an 11. That is a great deal. I'm sure many of folk in here are going to be feeling the same. I remember a story I was told by a friend. He said, I went to 7-Eleven and I got a drink. And the girl behind the counter said, "Oh, did you want to grab another one?" He just assumed that there was a deal on. and so he grabbed another one and got to the counter and paid full price for 2 drinks. And he didn't even say anything. He just a little bit confused. I mean, I would have been confused as well. Like, why would you say that to someone? Like, what's wrong with you, lady? Why would he want to grab another one? Did he look particularly thirsty that day? Was that what it was? Maybe that's what it was. Anyway, Mansa Quarry is going to be coming up for Numidan, so not going to be looking to play into the Saharan trade network here. So interesting decision. As I said, it's always a little bit of a gamble when you do something like that, because you're kind of forcing your opponent, or forcing yourself rather, to go for that landmark just to deny this attack. And this isn't really that significant of an attack when you think about it. Of course, it's a bit annoying, it's a bit frustrating, but it's not huge, it's not overwhelming. And interestingly, he's yet to actually go for the pit mine. So just going to be looking to try and focus down the houses. The most common thing that we're going to see here is just a whole bunch of archers coming out. You can see he's already got these 6 vills on the wood, looking to try and do some gathering up. He's going to go for an outpost instead. Interesting decision to go for the outpost. Now, Crackety here about to click up on the other side of the map. Which way does he go? He's going to be playing standard, right? There's nothing crazy that we're going to see here. We'll have to wait and see what the play is going to be. Meanwhile, back in the purple base at the moment, 4 minutes 15. The age up about to come through. It's the Mansa Quarry. And now back towards the Japanese home. The Kura storehouse is coming up here. Have a look how few sheep he's got. Now, keep in mind he's playing the Japanese, so it's not a huge deal, and he's going to transition over to farms relatively quickly here. But outpost does come up, and the outpost is actually, oh, you know what? Very well played by Crackety. He went here for the house that was inside the ring, because he knew that this one was not going to be accessible this entire time, because once the outpost comes up, very smart move by Crackety. And so now he's able to finish off these ones at the back. Now, I don't think he's probably going to be able to get the pit mine. Maybe on this corner he might be able to reach it. There's a good chance that he could even be able to reach these houses. So you're going to be very careful here, Numidan, the way that you're placing this. I would be going more towards this position, confident that he can still fit these in. we don't actually see any archery range coming out yet. Is this because, is he housed? Yeah, he's, oh gosh. You know what? This attack has been quite successful, I will say right now, from Crackety. Because you got to remember, the thing is, and I love doing this as the Chinese as well. To me, it feels like it makes so much sense when you do it as the Chinese, just because you start off with the Imperial official, so you're just getting really good value. So you could do like a double scout opening as well. But the reason why I like it is just because these spears, they still exist after this attack, right? Like even if an archer comes out here, you're still going to be able to do damage, and then you're able to fall back towards your base. Your units still exist, and it's basically, it's not free units, but you've basically got free pressure, because those units, it's basically just like you've made them in the feudal age all of a sudden. There they are. Now, Crackety needs to be careful here. He doesn't want to lose these units. He's already down to 4. I think he had, at its peak, about 6 of them. So he does need to be cautious about this, but also, once you get towards this top side, okay, first spear, or the next spear is going to come down, and this is probably the spot where I'd be considering moving back now. Interestingly, we don't see any real reaction coming out yet from Numidan. Apart from the house in the base, archery range coming up as well. Age up on the other side of the map, and now we're right on board with Crackety. So far, Outpost is coming up on the gold, so most likely going to be looking to go towards Castle Age. And I love this. I've been such a fan of this kind of strategy for a really long time. And it kind of takes me back to Age of Empires 2 days. Now, keep in mind, I never played Age of Empires 2 competitively. In fact, I never really played it. The only time I ever played it is after I became a creator. Played Age of Empires 3, and then people were like, hey, you should try Age of Empires 2. That's a cool game. So I was like, all right, we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. And yeah, I mean, one of the things I loved about it was the Drush, the Dark Age rush, and then you'd go into the FC, the Drush FC, the Dark Age rush into the Fast Castle. And I'm still a huge fan of that. I love the idea of going for big aggression and then following it up with a whole bunch of tech. And so I'm positive that we'll see that Castle Age come through shortly. Let's check in, though, on the other side and see how Numidan is doing as he chases away these units. The Honor Brigatia are out, so we will need to be cautious there. Now, I will just say, I may have made a mistake before I started this game. I haven't turned on my fan. Normally, when I'm casting, I get a bit hot. It gets a little bit hot in here. And even though it's quite cold at the moment in Australia, we're heading into winter. Well, we're not heading into winter. How would you even describe that? I mean, it's autumn at the moment. It's soon to be winter. It's getting cold. Let's just put it that way, all right? It's getting cold. And, you know, there was a part of me that was like, you know, we're not going to need a fan. We're not going to need a fan today. But the body temp rises. Anyway, just thought I'd let you guys know. That's a little bit of the behind the scenes action. Let's check in with Crackety, though, and see how he's doing behind the scenes. At the moment, he's still working towards that Castle Age. No real momentum in that direction just yet. Nice sort of walls that he's got coming up here. Working his way backwards. He does have the Brigatia in position. And it looks like he's going to be closing this out for the moment. Obviously cautious about any potential aggression coming in from the enemy. Keep in mind that with the double scout opening from the Malians, it's very tempting to go into professional scouts, though it feels like there might actually be no reason for him to do that now. It just, there was a lot of tempo that was lost, a huge amount of gold in the early game, and now it's like, is it really worth going into professional scouts at this point? Let's double check and see. Yeah, he hasn't gone into it whatsoever. I'm sure we would have seen it if he had done it. He probably would be sitting on about 7 scouts if that were the case, but it is not the case at all. Meanwhile, Crackety just cleaning up for the moment. So far, so good for him. Securing the hunt in the back line. Upgrades, not quite yet. No survival techniques for him. We'll ride on board and see exactly what he sees. Yeah, you can see that Castle Age timing is about to arrive. Not looking to play too aggressive either. He does have units out on the map, just the single scout. A couple of Brigatia making their way through. And nothing too crazy, nothing too absurd at the moment. Nice little stable at the back here, so probably going to be looking to put down this landmark right in the back corner. Most likely going to start moving those vills over soon. Probably take all of these vills here. Maybe even move a couple, maybe these 3 over here, and then look to drop it down. I think that's going to be the best bet. You do need to be a bit cautious with this timing, though. It can be very tempting to put the landmark in the corner. But if the enemy does have a build-up of units, they could potentially come through here and idle you out. So you do need to be very cautious about how you're playing it. I wouldn't say that there's a bit of a macro issue, just probably not enough vills on gold at the moment, so he's a little bit over macroed on food, but that's okay. It's a small little detail. Does actually spot the sheep out here as well. And now it looks like towards the south side, Numidan doing a little bit of scouting, just trying to understand exactly what's going on. Scout on the bottom side, and it sounds like he's probably going to be moving into cattle ranches. Indeed, it is the case. Cattle ranches now coming through. Let's check in with Crackety. There's the floating gate. So all of these food vills now rotated over. He's going to leave the ones on the farms for now. There's not a whole lot of vills here, only 8, but it's still going to get him up relatively quickly. This is up at the 10-minute mark so far. So far, so good by Crackety. I think he's played a pretty flawless opening here. I don't think we can really fault him. I think the biggest fault is the spears were kind of like he just overcommitted it a little. Overcommitted it? Yeah, overcommitted them a little bit too much, and let them die. He didn't need to let them die. But at the end of the day, it's a small little detail. Meanwhile, towards the top side, it looks like we could have trouble in paradise, though. These Bagash are going to get chased down here, so looks like we found the second mistake of Crackety here today. Numidan's played it pretty well on the defense from his perspective. I think the biggest issue was not being able to... I would almost be tempted to say I feel like he should have put 3 or 4 vills over towards this gold and go into professional scouts, though. I guess you don't have to play into professional scouts as the Malians. You've obviously got quite a bit of food availability in the form of the mill if you want to play into that style. And I think it's definitely worthwhile doing. But the age up does come through. 11 minutes on the dot. 11 minutes 03, somewhere in that region. Crackety now going to be putting that Yorishiro inside the stable. Going to be looking to move into Mounted Samurai. One of the best units in the game. IMO, I think it's... If we were to do a tier list of unique units and which ones were the best and which ones the worst, I think that would have to be up there, right? Like, realistically, what's going to be better than the Mounted Samurai? I think the Power Spike. I think that's realistically where the Mounted Samurai would have that position on the tier list from. It would just be the Castle Age Power Spike that it gets. It is just absolutely next level. Age up now. Over on the other side of the map, though. Numidan now, with quite a bit of an economy back here. The cows continue to build up. He's at 10 at the moment. This is going to be his 11th cow. And I'm going to be honest, I like this style. It's quite often that with the Malians, you see them go for 20 cows and then they go castle. I like this sort of slower or faster transition is probably the better way to say it. Where he goes into the castle age right now, and he's still making cows as he goes. Because it can be very tempting to wait for all of those cows, but I like this. I think this is definitely the right move. Gets you up there a little bit quicker. We'll ride on board with him now as the numbers continue to build. He's got the scout out towards the middle. The Vanguard scout now towards the middle. Numbers going to continue building up here as the Donzos start to make their way out as well. Blacksmith in the back, all the way at the back. Very, very far back there. He wants to try and keep the blacksmith of all buildings quite safe. Mosque now on the front. How are we doing on relics? Let's take a look and see, because Crackety's going to be the first one out here. We can actually see he's brought one back here. He's already sitting on +1. And towards the north, he's guarding this one up. At the moment, everything just seems to be very chill. Mounted Samurai towards the south. Indeed, they are. Benaman here as well. And now an outpost together with a farmhouse going to be coming out towards the middle. Numidan very aware of it. Meanwhile, Crackety got no idea that he is being watched. The scout only just coming into vision now. And a couple of units about to make their way through. If we look at Crackety, Crackety sees the scout here. And now the villagers. He spots them before he even got the attack off. Very nice reaction timing there from him. But going to be losing that Shinto priest. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of positional advantage there for him. Realistically, he's got just a couple units towards the north, couple units towards the east at the moment. He's looking for villagers, anything that he can find, anything that he can try and cause some havoc with. If we take a look and reveal, indeed, there's plenty of villagers here. Not so many up towards this top side, but that's going to be the first one that goes down. Second one picks it up again. So it's a very nice 2 villagers that he's taken out. Donzos together with plenty of archers here. Should be able to clean this up. And what's Crackety doing? Crackety falling asleep at the wheel. He's just chasing the villagers around at this point. But you know what? It could actually work. I don't like it. He's just going to lose these units. He's going to try and keep them alive. But I feel like you're going to lose a lot of tempo from doing that. Now that not only do you lose these units, you've lost a lot of health on them as well, and it just means that you can't continue doing this over and over and over again. Because that's one of the things about the Mounted Samurai. You want to wait for them to sort of refresh that shield, and then you can look to re-engage again. They're great for diving under the town center because of that. But now towards the top side, Onomagashi are going to start cutting. First vill down, second vill down. They are cleaning quickly up. And now immediately out. Exactly what he needed to do. You're just in and out. That's all you want to do. And that's going to draw units all the way across the map. You can see these guys were down towards the south side, potentially looking to push the base of the Japanese. And now all of a sudden they have to return back here to deal with this. It's one of those frustrating things. So well played by Crackety. He's definitely keeping his eye on the prize today. Sacred Site's now going to be taken. At the moment, it's 2 relics to 2. One of them on the way back through. I don't know where that third or that 5th and final relic is, though, because technically it's out on the map at the moment. Is it sitting back here somewhere safe? There's 2 in the bag here. I don't know where oh, it's right towards the north. Apologies. It was a little bit difficult to see. I don't know why I couldn't see it. I'm not sure what happened there. Archer's able to clean up the last of the Begatia, secure up that relic. That should be 3 relics over to Numidan, so well done by him for managing to do that. Does get the Sacred Site in the end. May potentially lose the Shaman for it. Archer numbers almost enough to one-shot here, but he'll be able to continue pushing this Begatia out. You can see he's just rallying it towards the base, so we'll keep that Sacred Site in his possession. And now the question is, where do we go from here? Because we've been talking a lot about what's happening, but we haven't been talking a lot about what we think is going to happen. So let's talk a little bit about that as the triple archery range gets dropped down. And look, I'll be honest with you, Malian archers, kind of scary. This is definitely a smart call here from Numidan, but you got to keep in mind you are kind of playing into what is very dangerous on the other side of the map. Meanwhile, we've got Raxes and stables. Look at the way that the production is coming up here for Krakeny. I find this really interesting how he's building his base, because very often we would see players building their production towards the front of the base. But he's really looking to build this base quite differently, and I think this is pretty smart. It means that if, in the event that he does actually get sieged down, you're going to have to come for the town center first. And this ain't no normal town center. This is a daimyo palace. The Shogunate Castle could be on the way shortly, and that means it is the very first thing that you have to attack if you want to attack this base towards the front. There's nothing else. If you bring the battering rams, there's nothing else that you need to clean up, and I like that. I think that is super duper smart. Let's check in on that north side though, as the relic did actually get stolen away by Krakeny. In the end, it does get hunted down. Numidan doing well to finally spot it. Has he got religious units on the way here? He does technically have one out on the map at the moment. A couple Donzos going to be able to find these mounted samurai over towards this east corner. But there it is, the Imam. Sorry, not the Shaman. It is an Imam. In my head, I was thinking it was an Imam, but then I was like, no, it looks more like a Shaman. But it is technically an Imam. Nice little quick wall down there. Keeps himself safe. Veteran Sofa. So yeah, where do we go from here? I think realistically, I'm tempted to say Krakeny. I mean, Krakeny can play it either way. He could stay in castle, even just on the 1 TC is fine, and then just look to try and double down on some pressure right now. Because over on the other side of the map, we do now have the 2nd TC up for Numidan. And that means he's going to be scaling. Now, of course, Krakeny doesn't know that yet, which means Krakeny's in the dark about that. So, realistically, his primary option, or his main options here are, number 1, double down in the Castle Age, which he definitely seems to be doing. Number 2 is to look for an Imperial Age. The Japanese Imperial is quite strong. You don't really get a whole lot of tempo out of it immediately, though. I guess that's one other thing to note. It's a little bit of a slow-paced Imperial Age. It's going to take you a little bit more time to come online. So perhaps it's not the wisest idea to do it at the moment, especially when your enemy has dropped down the TC. One of the things that we could see out for Numidan, though, on the defense, I'd love to see a keep from him. Just to keep right here on this little position here. That way you're keeping the town center safe to an extent. You're also keeping your main TC safe. And it guarantees that the longer that this game goes, the better it's going to be for you, because you're scaling with that 2nd TC, and it guarantees that you're not going to die. Though, keep in mind, if we do go Imperial Age, these units are not going to muck around, and they won't care about a keep. So you might have to look at doing something like boiling oil as a potential option. Now, Sacred Sites in the center of the map, going to get taken. He's got 2 of them, in fact, that he's looking to take. The 3rd one also going to have it switched over. There are plenty of units around here. Rotating out. Sofa now going to come through. You can see there's a nice little dent on that Sacred Site. Look at that. The way that it sits. That is so cool. That's the first time I've ever seen that, where the Sacred Site, it's almost like holding the Sacred Site has got a defensive advantage all of a sudden. Very cool. I mean, there's nothing... terrain bonuses don't exist in AoE 4, so it's not like it makes a real difference. But it is kind of cool, though. These ones don't do it. That's the first time I've ever seen... It must just be one of those weird things. You know how on, like, Dry Arabia, sometimes you'll just get, like, a meteorite? It's not even a meteorite. I don't even know how you'd describe it. It's like tectonic plates have just shifted. And you kind of get, like, this just giant dent that occurs on, like, one side of the map. It'll just be, like, right here. And you'll have it... Every part of the map will be leading into that. It's, I don't even really know how to describe it. I don't think you often see that in nature. Because it's not like an impact of a celestial object or anything like that. Because that's a lot more spherical. I guess you could say it like that. Fort of the Hunter is going to be coming up. So we do indeed see an Imperial Age, but it's not going to be from who we thought it was going to be. It's going to be Numidan of the Malians, who looks to go into the Fort of the Hunters here. 34 vills on this age up. Well, not right now. He's only got 17, but there's more on the way apparently. We just don't know exactly where they are. Numbers are looking good, and Crackety here is absolutely doubled down. He's still making units, by the way. This is the perfect time for him to strike. He's had a little bit of idle time, but now 100% he has identified the correct timing. And right as the Imperial Age is coming up, you could not ask for a better time to attack. Plenty of units on the backside here, firing off. You can see those archers with their poison, working their magic. Sacred Side victory now approaching. The age up comes through right on time. 15 vills inside there immediately, perfectly positioned on this age up, this landmark. It is absolutely wonderful, and there are so many units in here. Right, please get off my screen. New objective, neutralize the Sacred Site. I don't need to see you. Thank you. But keep in mind, there's a lot of armored units here, and Crackety here is getting absolutely trounced. Wow, poor guy. Poor guy. Not only does his enemy have the Imperial Age now, not only does his enemy have the second town center now, his enemy has just annihilated his army as well. Right when it looked like it was going to be perfect, Crackety struck, but unfortunately, he didn't strike. He didn't strike oil. He didn't strike gold. He struck rock bottom. There we go. We got it. We worked that one out. I was thinking, what could we possibly say to make that work? But we got it. Let's check in with income per minute. Get a bit of an idea on where these two stand now. Keep in mind, a little bit of idle time right now for Numidan, just because all of the vills were previously building the Fort of the Huntress, so they're going to have to go and do other things. But if we take a look at the moment, it looks like Crackety's sitting at about 4k, just from my general general look at it, and then on the side of Numidan, about 3.6k. So relatively close with regard to the economy. It's about what you'd expect it to be. Keep in mind that Numidan does have the relic advantage, only ever so slightly, 3 to 2 relics. We've got Tithe Barns that are on the way through now, so he'll be looking to upgrade those even more, but the elite archers have come through. He's looking for elite donzos right now as well. Also going to be picking up precision training, which is going to be quite nice here. There's no reason why Numidan can't go for a timing push here and look to end this game. On the other side of the map, the Taganashima Gunsmith is going to come down in the wood line. Now, there is a lot of farms here. I'm just going to say it right now. I love the way that this base is built. This is one of the best built Japanese bases we've ever seen. And in fact, this is not the first time we've seen Crackety here playing as the Japanese on this map, building amazing bases. In fact, we've seen it before. You may remember a previous game that we casted. I think it was a defensive masterpiece that we witnessed. It was from Crackety. It was on this exact same map. I don't think it was Numidan he was playing against, though I may be wrong. It looks like he's going to have to attempt it once again. The Taganashima Gunsmith slowly coming up. He's got 12 vills on it, so not going particularly fast. And now holding it down. Have a look at the military advantage that Numidan has got. He's going to dive underneath the Shogunate Palace. Dangerous for him to do this here, but he's got elite units, so he likes his chances. Fighting it out on all the farms. The age up comes through. Crackety is online in the Imperial Age. Immediately, hand cannon Ashigaru coming through. Let's see if we can get some co-commentating in the action. Wonderful. Exactly what we needed to hear. Unfortunately, they just get immediately annihilated. Their voices. Look, what you call? They got a great voice actor. Sorry, that's the best I could do. We got a little bit of a problem right now. There's a little bit of a problem inside the Japanese base. You guys may have seen it. It's not looking pretty right now for Crackety here. Numidan is all over the shop. At least all over the... If the shop is the base of Crackety, then he is all over the shop. Where are the military units, though? Because he's got a significant military advantage. I just don't see it. Like, we've got 12 here, and you got 6 here with 2 more, but... It says that there's a huge advantage. Okay, that's where they all are. There's a whole bunch of units up towards the north here, defending against the Begay shop. Now, no upgrades coming through just yet. We do have a Reboldaquin that is out right now for Crackety, but he is going to need a lot more than a Reboldaquin to win this game. He's going to need a miracle, that is for sure. Because right now, if you had to give like a win percentage chance, you'd have to say that Numidan's got a much higher chance. The second town center, the fact that he got Imp a lot sooner, he's taken a very nice fight. Vil count has been in favor of Crackety for probably the last, feels like maybe the last 15 to 20 minutes. It has been in favor of Crackety. Crackety's been active in this game, but The trouble that his opponent may have today is no crossbow. Keep in mind, the Malians do not have a crossbow unit. They do have a melee unit that counters any sort of, any armored unit. But it is definitely not a crossbow. And that's going to be a key component of dismantling any offensive that's put out by the Japanese. They are particularly fond of using those armored units, especially in the late game. And now Crackety looking to put an outpost towards the front of the base, just provide a little bit more line of sight, because right now he's dancing in the dark. And there you go. You can see he's got a lot more vision. Knows exactly what he needs to do now. Needs to win. Gotta believe sometimes. He's still got production back here that he's yet to actually build up on a Bagatia. We do have the ability to build a Revoltiquin. Now, keep in mind, I don't actually think the Japanese can build or train a Revoltiquin. They can only get them from this landmark, if I remember correctly, the Taganashima Gunsmith. So once he's got enough tickets for it, you can also train them from this landmark. That's the other thing. But not from your standard Siege Workshop. I'll need to verify just by clicking a Siege Workshop. I don't want to be telling porkies, because they might have changed the Japanese while I wasn't looking. It's happened before, where I've just gone, hold on a minute. By the way, what is going on with this gold mine right now? These villages are very interestingly positioned. Is there something wrong over here? Okay, there we go. They must have only just been transitioned, these vills right here. They were... I find it so interesting, because if you look at if you were to compare these, right? Like, look at the outline. Like, should these vills not just be around this corner here? I feel like all of the villages, they should be from this corner over here to, like, there. It's very curious why they prioritize this. It's a subtle little thing, but it makes you think. It makes you think. All right, Numidan now going to be moving into the bombard. I like this. This is a smart move. This is going to be dealing with any potential Revoltiquin. Obviously, we know the truth that there is a Revoltiquin on the field, but also with any potential keep, any buildings that your enemy's got. A great way to deal with those threats. Let's check in on the other side, though. Numidan pulling ahead in score. 1,600 points at the moment up compared to Crackety here. And Crackety definitely recovering slowly. Numbers starting to pick up for him, though. He's still down 2-1 on that military count. You can tell because of these little... I don't even know what you'd call them, these little bumps. So this right here is 50-50. This here is 66 or 67, 33 on both of these sides. So you can see Crackety's actually below the 33% mark, which is not a good place to be. Not a good place to be, especially not 27 minutes into a game. But now working down the rest of this, down towards the south. We've got some Musofadi on the field. The castle going to be able to defend here without too much trouble. But the numbers of military units continue to climb for Numidan. He's at 163 at the moment. He's evened up the Vil count. Crackety with 18 idols at the moment, substantially lower than what it should be. He's going to start repairing up the outpost, trying his best to keep it alive. It's going to be a tough ask, though, especially up against the bombard. Expect to see a second bombard out. I would definitely be looking towards a second bombard. Speaking of bombards, though, hello. There's the second bombard we were talking about. Meanwhile, towards the top side, we've got a lot of defense beginning to come up. Now the second bombard starts to fire off. Donzos together with the archers looking to put on the pressure. Vil's going to have to jump inside. Indeed they will. And now that outpost certainly going to be going down here. A little bit of a defense. Crackety attempting the impossible. Randy, Revoltiquin, fires. First shot. Not too bad. I think he's at 1 kill. We're going to be counting the kills of Randy right now. Randy, get in the action. Randy, you got to turn around, son. That is the wrong direction. All right, Randy. Watch him. Okay, that's another kill for Randy. That's 2. 2 for Randy. Get him, boy. That's another 3. Randy, the Revoltiquin, he's going down. Oh, he died very quickly. Jeez, I tell you what, dude. When the enemy right-clicks Randy, he's gone. You know, a small little sniffle in his direction, and that's it. He's fainted, the poor guy. Oh, poor Randy. Man, he had such big dreams, that guy. But I tell you what, somehow Crackety's managed to find a way back into this game. What's going on towards the north side? Hold on. We got ourselves a whole little push I hadn't even really paid attention to. On a Bagatia here with a couple of Bannermen. Working it down, just being very annoying. Keep in mind, Numidan is at 200 pop, so it doesn't really affect him adversely here. He does have the villager lead as well. I'm going to sit up. I'm going to sit up. We're 29 minutes into this game. This is starting to heat up. Crackety's doing it. He's finding a way back through. This is an action-packed game. but it's definitely felt like he's on the back foot throughout this game. A little bit of a repair coming in on that bombard. Vils on the move. A lot of Vils lost this game. 39 on one side, 21 on the other. And gold control is decent. This is the final gold here that's yet to be contested. Still got plenty of gold left on this north side. Numidan is going to be okay for days. Archers now just going to continue kiting away. You can see just how fast these units are on the attack. Once they actually make the connection, they're fine. But the trouble is now, the archers have worked their way through this mass. I tell you what, the Bagation are scary, dude. Look at that. You can see when they get focused, when they start focusing the Bannerman instead, or the Bannermen instead, it's so little damage that they're able to do to them. And the Bagation just gets so much value standing next to them. I love the fact that he's got so many of them out. Look at the amount of farms he's got here. The economy is absolutely kicking. By the way, is he still 1 TC this whole time? I think he is, right? He's got to be 1 TC. The 1 TC meta is stronger than it's ever been. I got Japanese voices in my left ear and my right ear. I can hear them. They kind of echo. Decent production on the back here. Has he picked up Oda Tactics? We can see he does have the university right now. Let's see if we can spot it out. Doesn't look like it's on this side. Could be down towards the south. There it is. So no Oda Tactics just yet. Not enough resources, apparently. But he does have the biology upgrade on the way. So looking to try and get even more Mounted Samurai out. I'm a big fan of the Mounted Samurai. The trouble that he's going to have right now is that the only unit you can really make in this position as the Malians is the Musofari. And the Musofari is a great unit. We've seen actually Crackety use it very well. The trouble is, when you compare it to something, the trouble that you've got, okay, with a Mounted Samurai unit is it is a big unit. And it's got a lot of health on it. And you want to try and focus it down. So hand cannoneers work very well. That's going to be the primary thing that I think Numidan needs in this composition instead of having crossbows. Because he doesn't have access to crossbows. Now, these walls have completely come up along the south side. As well as on the north. He has enclosed himself completely and says, this is mine. This is my land. Now, do we start to see trade? We do indeed start to see trade. And he's putting outposts up. I love it. Not any outposts, baby. These are toll outposts. You know what? I just want to say I respect you so much, Numidan, as a player, for the fact that you have toll outposts. So many Malian players forget about toll outposts, and it drives me wild, man. Some of the best players in the world I've watched trading as the Malians, and they don't put outposts along their trade line, and it shits me up the wall because it's like, it's just so many resources. But I guess it's one of those things, right, where you just kind of forget about it. The Malians are the only civilization that get access to it. I tell you what, though. Toll outpost plus a little bit of Saharan trade network. Man, those were the days, weren't they? Nothing. I mean, I'm sure they still go absolutely crazy the same way that they do. The same way that they did before in bigger games, like in team games, especially like 3v3, 4v4. I think Malians are still probably busted just because of how good the trade is. Crackety now with quite a sizable army here, really beginning to build up. This could be dangerous, but no walls for Crackety on the south side. Big attacks coming in. Musafati going to be hitting this large gold vein. Keep in mind, there's only about one remaining gold vein up here. It's got 3k on it. He's going to look to try and break through on the center. Plenty of mounted samurai make their way towards the front. Reinforcements looking to try and populate this position, but you can see just how much trouble he's having. Where are all the units? All the units he's sent towards the back line. Now he's got trouble. All the reinforcements. Look at this, 25 Donzos in the queue. And now Crackety here, able to overwhelm the enemy. 34 minutes into the game, trying his best to hold on for dear life. Numidan's in trouble. Numidan is in big trouble right now. The Japanese army absolutely blitzkriegs the enemy, and the Malians are running for their lives. So many units here. Look at the amount of units, the way they just quickly grab onto them. It's like Zerglings watching them, the way they just eat at the feet of the enemy. And now, unfortunately, he's in the wood line. All of the units back home have been cleaned up, and in the blink of an eye, Numidan, as the Malians, has just lost everything. Where did it go? But I mean, that's just the power of the Japanese, dude. That is the power of the Japanese. They have the strongest units in the game. The Mounted Samurai is one of the best for a very good reason. It can just take hit after hit after hit. An incredibly powerful unit. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Numidan tapping out, and Crackety here is your victor for today. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go and check them out. I'm going to leave links in the description of where you can watch both of these fellas live over on Twitch. Though, if I remember correctly, I don't think Numadon actually streams. I'll put Crackety twice for you guys. Anyway, we'll leave it there. And thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.